Have some pride.
I came with the facts today.
That's the
I ain't
only.
come with nothing. Oh, I'm just gonna wing my questions and everything. So, you do whatever you guys want to do.
Don't bring that negative energy around.
Hey, I don't know. So how you want to do something, man?
Live, we ready?
What do you mean? No, we're not ready. We're talking right now. Hold on, relax. We're not ready yet. What do you? How you got something you want to say before we go?
Not at
Something
all.
off the chest, man.
Not at all.
I
Here
feel
we
like
go, here we
you
go.
want some more. I feel like you want some more. Keep testing me.
Microphone check.
No. Let's find out what the
Here we go.
find
Here
out
we
what the
go.
problem
Here we go.
is,
Let's
man.
get started. Let's get started, man. Microphone check. Microphone check. Hey, this is the world's most popular barbecue talk, barbershop talk, man cave conversation. However you like it or dislike it. This is your heavyweight champ of sports talk podcast. This is your opinionated facts. These are your hosts. I'm back in the building. B-Way. To my right, we have Mr. Jacklison Ruiz. And to his right, we have the Donald Trump of Sports Talk Podcast.
Oh,
I
man.
did it right. The Donald Trump of Sports Talk Podcast. Mr. Red himself is in the building today. But,
You live up to that.
yes, definitely.
I should have worn my MAGA hat.
You should have definitely worn
Should have
yours.
got one made today.
Make
Hold on.
podcasts great again.
If I had time, I would have got the hat made today. And I
Anyway, we have more important guests in our building today. We have the head coach from York High Basketball, William Penn Senior High School in York, Pennsylvania, Mr. Clovis Gallon Sr. And we have basketball recruit, one of the premier players in York County, Clovis Gallon Jr. in the building with us. Let's make some noise for him. Where my crowd at?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? We're bringing new sound effects. Hey,
Intro is really weak today.
I brought it.
Low energy.
No,
I brought it.
Can't
It's
call
low
people
energy.
Trump, man.
You can't call people Jacklison.
I know, man. But like he does that on the low, and it's like, okay, Brandon.
How was y'all week? How was y'all weekend? Jack?
It's starting off horribly.
Started off. It's only Tuesday. He said the week. How was the weekend? Friday. To now.
It was a real slow week, man. Nothing really to mention, man. But we're here today. We're gonna bring the energy, and we're gonna stop talking about Trump.
Had a good weekend, man.
Did you what you do?
Yeah, hung out with the kids, man. You know,
It's always
got some
good.
quality time. Got some quality time with the kids.
It's always good.
You know, talked to my brother a little bit. Amongst other things, little things, but it was good.
Nice.
Thanks for asking.
You know,
How was your weekend?
I'm a considerate friend.
How was your weekend?
I don't think you really care.
Little Crusaders, 7-2, 7-game win streak.
I was about to say, yes.
Playoff time. That's always good.
Yes. So, you know, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Good
I said that
weekend.
already.
Good weekend going around. But anyway, let's get to our special guest in the building. How you guys doing today? Or tonight, I should say.
Good. Tired.
Need some more energy back there. Had to move up a little bit.
Good.
Talking to the mic.
Nah, they're good. They'll pick it up. We'll pick it up.
No, but I mean,
First of all, thank you for coming in. You know, driving up here from York.
Excuse our host. He never thanks anyone for coming.
Right. You just
Ever.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
He's never
we appreciate
thanks
it.
anyone.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity to share with, I guess, your audience what it is that we do, a little bit of our journey, and kind of where we're going.
Speaking of, man, big senior year coming up, right? You ready for it? Yeah. You look like you're ready, man.
I'm ready.
You ready to go to sleep? Well, you ready to get some Z's? Ready for class tomorrow?
hey, go ahead.
Go ahead. You got it.
No, like he said, he's tired. This is we do record late, but like an average week for you. I mean, being an elite basketball player in the state of Pennsylvania, like how does it look? How much homework do you have on a nightly basis? How do you find time to still train? How does that stuff work out for you?
Well, usually I will have workouts in the morning and I'll go to school.
Workouts before school?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then go to school. And after school, I'll get some more shots up. And then I'll go home, relax, have time to myself, play the game and all that. Play Fortnite.
Fortnite player.
Oh man, that's a Fortnite guy. You online with Fortnite?
Yeah.
So you do homework after the games?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
What time you wake up for your first workout?
Like 5:30.
Jeez, he's on my time.
5:30.
I don't even get up that early.
Yeah, he's on my time. That's good. That's a good time. It's a good time. No one's up at that time.
I'm up at 5:30 too.
Sure, I text you before. You never answer.
I
You don't answer at 6:30, so I know you're lying.
I'm not ready to text at 5:30.
Nah, it's not. It's not. It's false.
He's not up at 5:30 texting.
Hey, it's fake news.
No, you would
From
say
the words of Donald Trump, it's fake news.
The Donald
He
Trump
is
of
not.
sports
He
coach.
is not up that early.
So, big Clovis, what do you think? Like, when coaching your son, is it like if somebody was to get hurt or he was to go down and get hurt? Is it like, oh, my son's hurt, or like, oh, my player's hurt, my favorite best player? Like, how does that work?
Wow, it's crazy that you asked that question. The timing is kind of crazy because I guess it was it last Thursday or the Thursday before?
2 weeks ago.
About 10 days ago. They were doing workouts down in the weight room and doing box jumps. So this fool does a box jump and comes down on top of the box and doesn't catch himself the right way and comes down on the back of his heel, hyperextends his knee, falls on his butt. He gets up. That weekend we're going to Reading. We're going up to Reading to play in the fall shootout up there. We were playing Northampton and Fakeem and Prep. And, he said he was sore, said his tailbone was sore, it was swollen a little bit. He went and played that night. Then we went and played that weekend. Then after school on Monday, he went and worked out again. He went to the Grimes and played again. And he came home and he said, Dad, look at my knee. Knee was swelled up. He said, I keep hearing this clicking noise. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. It was like everything just flashed in front of my face right there because, you just start thinking about, all the work that he's put in. You start thinking about your season, what we have coming back. So it was twofold. I was devastated for him. And then, being the head coach, I was thinking about, where our program would be going potentially without him.
Yeah.
We went the next day, called our trainer who works for OSS. We took him to orthopedic spine specialist, urgent care. She did some tests on him right in the office right there. She said it's definitely a sprain, but there wasn't anything broken. She did an X-ray and then scheduled him for an MRI the following week. So I said, all right, we'll wait a couple of days and see how things go. Every day, it was a little more better. The swelling went down. He felt a little better, got a little more confident. I guess it was like Friday. He said, look, Dad, I can run up the steps now. I said, oh, all right. Now, for me, I'm like, yes. So I called and I actually canceled the MRI and he was in the gym just right before we came here. We were at the high school gym. He's shooting on the machine and lateral moving, cutting, and everything. So, it's something to think about when you think about your son getting hurt. But I got to think about the program too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You coaching your son. Are the expectations different for him, the individual, versus I guess anybody else you would be coaching? Like I know I couldn't coach my own child because, especially at the age he's at now, he's only 9. I would be so hard on him, so different with him than I would be with the rest of the team, just because I know he's my child. So how do you separate that? Are you able to separate that? Do you catch yourself sometimes?
I'll answer first, and then I'll let him answer too. For me, it's gotten easier over the years. I guess he might have been 9 the first time that he asked me to coach him. Now he's had a basketball in his hands pretty much since birth. So I trained him, but one time he came to me and was like, Dad, you're always coaching older guys. These were his words, not mine. When you gonna coach me? And I said, are you sure? I mean, he didn't know what he was gonna get into, and I didn't either. And it was hard. It was hard to differentiate between coach and dad for a long time because I would take coach home with me in the car, at dinner when we were eating, and it took me a long time to adjust and to adapt, and it really, put a strain on our relationship for a long time. And I think we're still healing. We're still healing over that, because that was hard. Now it's kind of like, I think all the foundation that I tried to instill in him, I think he's starting to recognize, all the jewels that I tried to give him in training and developing as a player. And I'm watching those things manifest, and I'm watching him have some success. So now and I've taken a step back, and even when I get in the moment, I really try to take a step back. Now, I'm not going to say I don't have my moments. I still pull him to the side and say things to him that I wouldn't say to anybody else's child. But he gets it. So I think he's mature enough to handle that. And I've watched him grow and develop and get to a level now where, I can really like step back and say, all right, you're beginning to understand and you get it now. But it was hard for a long time. It wasn't easy. So as far as coaching other kids, I definitely try to push kids as hard as I push him, but I can't, because he's my kid. So I can do things to him and say things to him that I can't say to other people's kids. I coach at a public school, so I can't do that. But I definitely try to, treat all the kids the same. He has it harder than other kids. That's just the reality of it.
I figured that.
And for two reasons, because a lot of times people say you're only on the team because of your dad. You're only there because of your dad, but that's going to be what it is, period. You can't avoid that. And I'm cool with that. We welcome that kind of pressure, and that because he works hard enough to be where he is and have the success that he's having in his life right now. But I'll let him answer the question too.
I don't really got no words for this. I said it was just hard.
You think he was harder on you than every other kid?
Yeah, especially when I was younger, it was way worse. Yeah.
And it got better now. You think it got better now?
Do you appreciate it now that he was harder? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. 50.
He still can't see it yet. Yeah. You got to give him till he's like 21 or something. He'll be able to see it a little better.
So when you talk about taking a step back, like him playing AAU ball, like that's, you didn't coach him.
Actually, I did coach. That's why I first coached him, like on the AAU circuit.
Now,
all the way up until the end of his sophomore year.
Okay. Like, what are your thoughts on the current status, like, of AAU ball? Like, do you like where it's going? Do you like?
I haven't really, I saw the shift that they're trying to make, and I haven't really like broke it down and analyzed it. I can say when I was, knee deep in it and coaching, what I saw on the circuit and what I still continue to see somewhat is that, these days nobody gets turned away as far, in these programs. A lot of these programs are money makers, and if you want your kid to play basketball, little Johnny can go play no matter where his skill set is or his talent is. But the way they're doing it, the way the AAU circuit is beginning to shift, I think it's going to make it more difficult for those middle of the road kids that are, the Division II recruits, the Division III recruits, the low level Division I recruits. Your elite players are going to get the exposure that they're warranted because they're so good, because they have the numbers, they have the size, they have the skill set. But it's the ones that are going to be on the cusp that maybe the gems or the diamonds in the rough that are going to be harder to get the exposure.
So how do you feel about like different AAU programs that might charge money for, like, I would say for the AAU experience? Like, they're saying they're getting exposure. Are they getting the same exposure for, $800 that, you would get for $300? Like, are you paying for more when you're paying more? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
We've never paid that kind of money to be with a program. Now I ran my own program for a while, with the organization that I was with, but like I said, I think $700 or $800 is a lot of money. If you're going to pay $700 to $800, your team should be getting maximum exposure. When I say maximum exposure, you should be on the sneaker circuit, one of the sneaker circuits, or you should be playing in high-profile showcase tournaments. Every once in a while you might go to play in a warm-up tournament to keep your juices flowing or whatever. But for the most part, you should be getting maximum exposure if you're paying that kind of money. that's my opinion, because the end result for me was for my sons to ultimately have the opportunity to go get a scholarship and play at the collegiate level. Everybody may not have that same goal. I know one parent who was comfortable paying that kind of money because he wanted his son to play basketball. His son was good enough to play. He was a decent player. He doesn't have, at this point, aspirations of his son going to play at the next level, but it's recreational for his son, and he's cool with paying that kind of dollar. There are some parents out here who may not be able to afford it, who scrape up every dime and nickel for their kid to be able to do something like that, and it's really not affordable to them, but they figure out a way to make it happen, and maybe they have hoop dreams for their kids when their kid really isn't at that level. And I think those are the ones that sometimes get, I don't want to say hoodwinked, that might not be the most appropriate word, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's like they're paying for, like, you say the sneaker tournaments. Like, I don't think parents understand what that is. Can you maybe explain that a little more?
Well, those are the sneaker kids, or those teams are usually sponsored, and you have the Adidas Gauntlet circuit, you have the Under Armour circuit, you have the Nike circuit. Those teams are usually, they're ran by those shoe companies, and these are the kids that are going. These are your blue chip players. A lot of them on those teams. Those are the kids that are going to your Dukes, to your Kentuckys, to your North Carolinas, to your big time ACC programs, your Big Ten programs, typically in those tournaments. So when I talk about the sneaker circuit, that's what I'm referring to.
And Little Clovis played on the sneaker circuit this past summer.
He did not play on the sneaker circuit, but he did play in. He played with Team Final Red this summer, and they went to all high profile, big time showcase tournaments. Most of them were sponsored by, either I think AAU Super Showcase or Hoop Group tournaments.
Little Clove, you have some goals this year?
Yeah, I got a lot of goals.
Let's hear a few
I definitely want to. Everybody wants to win every game. So I ain't gonna say we're gonna be perfect, but if we can be perfect, then we're gonna.
So you want to go undefeated?
Yeah, I would like to win county championship. I want to win the district championship. I want to win the state championship. I want to win a division. I'm gonna win everything right now.
What about far as individual goals for yourself?
I should share it.
I haven't really think about no individual goals. I'll just be happy to have a gold medal for real.
All right, that's good. What about schools? What are you thinking? You have a couple in mind? You have a couple you're looking at? You ain't gotta give like an announcement.
What are you enjoying about the recruiting process right now?
I say it's a good feeling, like a couple days after a tournament or something, and those college schools just text you, because that lets you know like you did good at your games or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's just the best feeling to me.
So, who do you model your game after? If there's one player out there right now that you look at and that you study their game, or favorite team?
My favorite team is the Raptors.
Raptors.
I don't really model my game.
LeBron to the Raptors.
I watch Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, of course. Okay. Jason Tatum and all them. I'll see what they do and put them all into one, and I'll try to do it all.
Do you know that you look like Lonnie Walker?
Oh.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
You look just like the guy. I'm sitting here like.
I think his freshman year, they called him Little Lonnie.
It's not a bad person to be, for people to call you. So I'm sitting there looking at you like, look, I look just like Lonnie.
How'd you pick up the Raptors?
Yeah, is it a certain player, or is it just?
I like DeMar DeRozan, but we traded them, of course. But I don't know. I like to be different. Everybody was liking Golden State, the Cavs, and all them, and then their whole team is in a whole nother country. So I like the Raptors because it's just different.
You see them coming out of the East this year?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Over Boston?
They're going to the finals. Yes.
Over Boston?
Yes.
Jeez.
He probably thought it the last couple of years though too.
Yeah, you probably did think that the last couple of year. Did that hurt last year?
Yeah.
That fadeaway one-hander off the glass, was that I'm a Cavs fan, so basically a LeBron fan. That's what they say.
What you say?
And when he hit that shot, I felt bad for Toronto. So I'm like, I'm a fan now, and I'm like, oh man, it hurts. So I know it was probably the most devastating thing you ever seen.
What will you miss most about playing at York High?
I would say the little things, like the bus rides, laughing and playing around, stuff like that. Getting taped up before the games and stuff, listening to my music, talking to people about the game.
What are we listening to before the game? Well, I mean, this year is different, but let's say last year. What's a go-to?
I would listen. You know who G Herbo is? I listen to him.
Who?
And
G Herbo.
I don't
Chicago?
know.
G Herbo? Never heard of him?
Nah,
Everything.
Can't say I have.
I'll listen to Drake sometimes. It depends what the mood is. You'll be surprised what I listen to. I'll be in warm-ups. You think I'm listening to hype music. I'm listening to some slow jams. It depends what the mood is.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works, man.
Oh man, he just did some slow jams before he scores 30 on you.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to do. That's why I used to do the same thing. So I wasn't scoring 30.
So when did you think like hey, I can really go to the next level with basketball, or like I'm really falling in love with this thing?
I started having like a lot of confidence in myself. I'll say like my 8th grade summer. Yeah, I'll say like my 8th grade summer, 9th grade, because that's when I started like going to like little camps and all that, getting write-ups on me and all that, and I built up a lot of confidence from that. So I'll say then.
Did you ever play any other sports, or has it just been basketball?
I played football, but I stopped like I think 5th grade. Yeah, I
Fifth
stopped
grade?
in 5th grade.
That early? Don't like contact?
Nah, I just wanted to focus on basketball.
I respect
I get it.
that.
I get it. I respect it. Big Clove. What do you enjoy the most about his recruiting process?
I'm just trying to take it all in, you know. I still remember the first time he made a basket in the gym at York High, the very first time. I still remember him coming to our practices, every practice at 6 years old, 7 years old. I remember when he was 6 and he jumped off the bleachers. He was at the other end of the gym and at the top bleacher. I mean, he was adventurous. He didn't have any fear. And he was like, "Dad, look." And I'm sitting at the other end of the gym in a chair while the guys are working out. And he steps off he didn't step off the top bleacher. He jumps like boom on the floor. Knocked the wind out of himself. I'm like, oh man. I ran down, picked him up, was worried about him, but he used to run drills with our varsity kids and JV kids at 9, 10. I mean, he was always really, really skilled. And now to get to this point, you know, I've always said, you know, the goal is to get a free education. The goal is to get a free education. And I asked him last year, maybe a little more than a year ago at this time, you know, where do you want to go to school? What are you thinking about? And listen, as long as it's free. You know, we went to Vegas not this past summer, but last summer. What one was that? Fab 48? And coach from Malone University called, Division II school in Ohio.
Canton, Ohio, yeah.
They called right after he had a good game, and he ran the bathroom and talked. He came out. He was like, "That's it. Nobody else needs to call me. I'm going to Malone University. It's over." I mean, I laughed, but you know, at that time it was like, I want to go wherever it's free. Period. I asked him the same question this summer after, you know, the live period. He had a really good live period, played very well, started to get a lot of ink, a lot of pub, a lot of phone calls, text messages. Where do you want to go now? I want to go wherever the lights are brightest. You know, I want to play big time college basketball. So just to be a part of that process and to see where we started and be a part of that now, every day I'm just trying to, you know, be in the moment and embrace it, because in the snap of our fingers, it's going to be senior night, you know, and I'm going to be in there, you know, just trying to hold myself together as, you know, as he goes and plays his last game on our court.
But you got to coach it.
And I got to coach it.
So this is year 3 as head coach.
This is year 3 as head coach.
Okay, I mean, you guys are perennial district contenders and, you know, everything else. Like, you bring You bring back a lot of your guys this year, or
We had 13 kids on our playoff roster last year. 10 of them will be trying out. So we expect to be good. And not that our expectations are any different every year. The message is the same for our kids every year. County champs, division champs, district champs, state champs. It's even though our school has never won one, that is what the mantra is every single year. So, but coming back with what we have, these guys are seasoned. They've had a taste of some success. We went to the district championship last year. The kids are hungry. They're definitely hungry.
So with that said, like the challenges of, because York is a tough place growing up for kids nowadays. How do you focus on just like keeping them kids focused, out of trouble, just dialed in and ready to compete every night? Just to get to school and the game is hard, and you got to keep them focused for the season, the off season. What are some of the tactics that you work with that angle?
Well, having sons in the program is a blessing. My middle son is also in our program. He played some varsity last year and some JV, and these guys that are on the team aren't just teammates; they're friends. And a lot of they've all grown up together. They played youth basketball together with boys club. Most of them have played AAU together, whether they were playing with the York Raiders or they were playing with the York Ballers. These guys are staying the night at each other's houses. I came home one night, I don't know where I was at this summer, but I'm going down my Facebook page, and a couple of the kids are friends with me on Facebook, so we're playing Manhunt tonight. All right, so I'm starting to go through the comments. Where we playing at? Clovis house. So I get to my house, there's 30 to 40 boys on the porch outside getting ready to go play Manhunt in the neighborhood. They're safe. They're in my neighborhood, they're on my porch. But I think about it like this, these guys are all friends, and there's a lot of positive peer pressure that goes on between them. They're competing to see, who does well academically. They're competing to see, who's in the gym. And if you're not in the gym, they're holding each other accountable. So that's made it easier for me. That's a blessing, to have two sons that are in the program. Now all these guys are friends and they've grown up together. The challenge for me is for these guys to plant the seed and leave a legacy for the younger kids that are going to come up through our program.
That's big with just everybody being friends.
No, he was just speaking on legacy, and we're on hard times here at McCaskey. All programs really, but
our track and field program is pretty good still.
Speaking of legacy, like Coach Powell, we lost him recently, and I don't know if he had any type of influence on you or as a coach. And
for sure, I mean, Coach Powell is a legend here, and here in Lancaster. He was also my fraternity brother. And I definitely respected him. He's been here for a very long time. Him and Coach Mitchell. So even to see Coach Mitchell away from the program for me was shock and awe to see McCaskey not go in that direction. But things fell the way they fell. Looking at the stability and the consistency that Coach Powell had here at McCaskey, and thinking about some of the guys that came through the program, thinking about the Pinkert brothers, it's the kid that went to Syracuse, played quarterback, the Patterson brothers coming through, Deontay, thinking about Leonte Turner. Is that his name?
Yeah,
oh, man, he was bad. Yeah. Man. So when I wanted to become a head coach, I looked at Coach Powell, and when I was watching what he was doing, I was paying attention to what Coach Smallwood was doing up at Harrisburg, and watching the success that they were having, and thinking, all right, when I come in, I gotta pull from here. I want to pull from here, and these are the things that I want to do to make sure I have consistency and stability in my program.
where would you rank? Because I know this personal opinions. I'm being a basketball fan. Where would you rank York County basketball among like some of the best basketball in the district or state? Like, I think it's pretty high.
Pretty high meaning
Number
number one, number two.
I'm just gonna say pretty high.
I want to know what you're going to say that. I want to know what.
Recently or like all time?
Recently.
Well, York County basketball has come a long way, and I think, and I'm here to say for everybody across the state that York County basketball, if you're sleeping on York County basketball, it needs to get the respect that it deserves, because I think we have one of the best leagues, not just in District 3, but in the state. When I think about just last year, we finished and we didn't even make our county tournament last year. We tied for third place, but through a tiebreaker formula or whatever, we didn't even make our league tournament. Now, in Division 1, Central, Red Lion, New Oxford, Dallastown, us, who am I forgetting? Northeastern, and Southwestern. 7 teams, I think it was. Just in Division 1 in York County last year, the teams that made districts, Central, Dallastown, New Oxford, York High, and Northeastern, all 5 of those teams made districts last year. Out of those 5 teams, the only one that didn't win a game was Central. They lost in overtime to Dallastown, I think, in the first round.
2 teams that played each other.
The 2 teams that played each other. New Oxford got beat by us in the first round. They eventually qualified for the state tournament. Northeastern clearly qualified. We went on to play them in the semifinals of districts. Us. And so, I mean, the top 5 teams in our division went on to the district tournament and moved on, and everybody qualified for the state tournament except for the team that lost in the first round. That's how good York County basketball is. And it's pretty consistent across the board. Now, the talent may jump from team to team on a yearly basis, but we're in basketball, we're pretty competitive when it comes to competing at the district and the state level.
I took, was it both of you guys? I think we won.
Spring Grove game.
Yeah, a couple years
Eli
ago.
Brooks.
Yeah, Eli.
I started telling these guys about the kid Eli Brooks.
I wasn't a
Spring
believer.
Grove.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't believe it.
And I think one of their comments was like, "Come on, he plays for Spring Grove in York. Like, come on, like he's not good."
No, I didn't. Never said he wasn't good.
You
No,
were building
stop
him
it.
up to be what he was.
Yeah,
I'm about to say, was I lying?
No.
I think you called him Steph Curry or something. I forget what you said. Like you said something crazy. It was something crazy that you said. I'm like, no way.
He lives up to it.
Oh my God.
we
Yeah.
won something against McCaskey his junior year, and he
No,
lit him
I
up.
thought it was his senior year. It was Kobe Gance's junior year, maybe. No,
Yeah, I
it
forget.
was him against Kobe Gance. That's why kind of the reason we won playoff game.
Yeah. But yeah, he made you guys a believer.
Yeah, that night. That night, he came across half court, pulled up. I couldn't believe it.
And now he's playing. He's getting significant minutes. He'll be a sophomore at Michigan this year. So I respect it, and I think York County is underrated in a way. Like a lot of people's ratings of where high school basketball is in this state, but if people take a close look, like it's tough. It's tough to even come out of there. Like to get out of the league and districts and.
Yeah, I agree. It's York County basketball has some quality basketball players, and I would venture to say that this year we're going to have a few of the best basketball players in the state. I mean, we have some potential all-state players when I think about Keith Davis at Dover High School. And let's talk about York High. I mean,
yep.
I think Clovis is gonna, have a potential to be, all league in our league, all District 3, and potential, be, one of the an all-stater. I think he has that kind of potential. I'll tell him that. I mean, the only pressure you can put on yourself. I mean, the only pressure that you feel is the amount of pressure you put on yourself. And I think I'm comfortable enough to be able to say that in front of him. I think Marquise McLean is going to be another kid that is an impact player not just in our league level, but at the district and state level. He's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, he is.
He's a 6'3" bully. But he can take bigger guys out on the perimeter and handle the ball. And if you're undersized, he has a legitimate post game. Can finish with both hands around the basket, and he's very good. So I think there's quality basketball in York County. Think about Eli Brooks, going back to him. He is, when I think about kids that I've had to coach against or scheme against and try to stop, I almost rate them on like level of concern. Like, all right, what scheme do you need to come up with to stop this kid so your team could be successful? And a lot of kids were on that list. I mean, I can go all the way back to 2008 or 2009, Ramon Moore at South Philly, Deshaun Menace when he was at South Philly, Ford McGlynn at Dallastown, Lonnie Walker, and I'm sure I'm just off the top of my head, those are a few. Eli Brooks is at the very top of that list. He was at the very top. Wow. He was fundamentally sound. He did not have a weakness. He was stronger than he looked. He was more athletic than he looked. He was a great defender. He was deceptively quick. He could finish above the rim. He could score from all three levels. If he was 2 steps across half court, he was within range to score. And he was a consummate team player. He may have averaged 30 a game, but he knew that he could not be successful without the support of his team. And he would drop the ball up when guys were double and triple teaming him, he would give it to guys on his team and encourage them, because he knew if they had any type of confidence, if they could make a shot here or there, that Spring Grove was going to be in position to win games.
There's another kid that played for his dad, right? And his dad, the head coach out there?
Yes, that was.
You think that helped him out a lot?
Oh, for sure. And James is a great player himself. I played against James quite a few times, just in local leagues. I'm pretty sure that James went to, did he go to Bloom? I'm not sure where he played his college ball at, but his dad can still play to this day. Can still shoot it, light it up. So he has good pedigree, and I'm not surprised that Eli is where he is.
Jeez. So I would say, like a couple of weeks ago, we had Kiki Jefferson on and her father, and she made a move that put her father on Facebook and made it go viral in a one-on-one matchup. And it was seen by thousands of people. Who's winning this one-on-one matchup right here between y'all two?
Are those games still happening?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know what it is, but the last time we played, I couldn't beat him. I ain't gonna lie.
Ooh,
that might have been April. It might have been April,
But now, it's war.
I mean, I'll tell you the story because I don't mind. I won. We played, and I there were a couple kids in the gym, a couple of his teammates.
Oh,
He
man.
cheated. All right, let me tell you. The first game.
He was under the assumption the game was to 11.
It was to
So
11.
the score. And I'm not even playing D. I back up. I take a step back. Bong, he hits a long jumper. 11-7. He walks like, oh, that's game. I was like, what do you mean that's game? We're going to 16. He was like, yo. Then we say we were going to 11. I said, nah, man. We said 16. I asked everybody on the sideline. Everybody was in agreement. Nah, everybody said 16. He was like, I was like, but if that's, I started to walk off. He was like, nah, we could go to 16. What did I say the score was? 11-7? Yeah. He lost 16-11. He lost 16-11. Hold on. And then he was like, well, you ain't going to beat me if we play 3 dribbles. I said, I'm a jump shooter. What are you talking about? All right, so we could play 3 dribbles. Bong, bong, couple step back jumpers. Boom, fadeaways. The score was 10-2. He was down. He came back and made a little run. I made it respectable. He lost 16-10.
No, I was like 16-12.
16-12, I'll give you that. All right, 16-12. But you lost twice. Go ahead and tell your story.
Game, it was like, the first game before the game, I was like, we going up to 11. He was like, all right, checked up. And it was like, what was the score? 9 to what? When I was hit the winning bucket, it was like, what was the score?
The score was 11-7 when you hit the win. When you hit
It was
the
9-7.
winning
We
bucket.
checked up, and I shoot from far away, so I'm like the 3-point line, then it's the volleyball lines, and I shot from like between the 3-point line and the volleyball lines. And right when we checked up, I took like a little dribble and I shot it. Oh, that's game. And then he's sitting there saying, "Oh, that's not game. That's not game." And he just hit me with he hit me with that real quick. That's how I lost.
Hey, Dad's rules always wins, man.
I don't know nothing about what he's talking about. Last time we played, I went 2-0, and I don't know when.
Let's talk about when I dunked on you.
Oh,
We don't know about that. I want to hear that.
I mean, I
no
came
footage of
from a
that?
golf course. I had on a golf hat backwards. I had on slides. He was out there in front of his friends. I said, "All right, I'm gonna let you get your rocks off, son. Go ahead." He goes up, and I go like I'm going by. Yeah, he got the video. He can show you. I ain't afraid for him to show the video.
They might put that on the Opinionated Facts page.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
send it to us. Please send it to us.
Oh man, that's funny. Hey, so let's transition real quick, but before we do that, let's talk about if anyone is in need of any credit repair, building business credit, business loans, counseling credit. The Credit Lab here in Lancaster, PA is definitely available for you. You can contact them for a free consultation. Their website is www.creditlab.com. You can follow their Facebook page at the Credit Lab, and their phone number is 717-509-8899. And if you mention Opinionated Facts, you definitely get a discount there as well. So make sure you take care of that if you need any credit information. Moving forward, it's time to give Mr. Red his platform.
Oh man.
And see if we can have this sit down and be humble award time now. What we got here? Oh, hold on. Let's play the theme music now.
Can't give it
If
to
I
Eric
can.
Reed. Give it to Eric Reed. All hell breaks loose to give it to Eric Reed again.
It's that time of the show. Sit down.
Be humble. Sit down. Be humble.
Who we got this week?
Eric Reed. No, I'm saying. Let me stop. I don't want no problems again. Well, Samar Rudolph, my brother, sent me a sit down and be humble award and asked me to. He didn't say, hey, let this be. He asked if this could be to sit down and be humble. So he's my brother. I care about his opinion. So he sent me a link to a website with the article about 3 cops or 4 cops in Biscayne Park. I think that's in Florida. Pretty sure it's in Florida. It's like a little village in Florida, like 3,200 people. They were padding their crime stats with innocent black people they were arresting for unsolved crimes. First guy's name was Guillermo Ravello. He admitted to it. He admitted to being a dirty cop. He admitted to pinning unsolved crimes on innocent individuals while he was patrolling Biscayne Park. He was sentenced to 27 months in jail. And his buddy Raul Fernandez and Charlie, I can't pronounce his last name, were also sentenced. They pled guilty as well. Back in 2013, those two arrested a 16-year-old boy for a series of unsolved burglaries and knew he was innocent. 16-year-old. Knew he was innocent, still arrested him.
Biscayne Park.
It's going to be a tie between them and Samar Rudolph for the Sit Down and Be Humble award, because Samar Rudolph also called me, I believe yesterday, started an argument with me about something I said last week, because a little more details came out a few days ago. What he doesn't understand is when you're sitting here, those same stats and everything he called me weren't available because it was a week later after the information came out. So he didn't give a statement. Eric Reed didn't give a statement or anything about what transpired in the Players Coalition until Sunday. Well, I made him Tuesday the Sit Down and Be Humble award. So if it was available, maybe I would have rethought it, but it wasn't. So at the time, he deserved it, and he still deserves it. So
that was my next question to you. Are you going to Does he still deserve the sit down and be humble award?
At the time, he deserved the award. That's why he got it.
But now we're in hindsight. We can look back.
Well, not in hindsight. Just because he sounded intelligent when he said everything, don't make him right. It don't make it the truth. There's 3 sides to every story. He told his side.
Jenkins hasn't told his.
Jenkins hasn't said a word yet.
And the owners.
All we know is he got money.
And he stopped protesting last year when he got money.
Okay. Does it make him a sellout?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Does it make him a sellout?
I mean,
Does it make him a sellout?
Take money.
Normally, when you take money to stop doing something,
To do something in his community.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
What else he do with the money?
What do you?
It doesn't make any sense. You guys don't make any sense.
So what do you do?
You guys want someone to keep fighting with no result.
So what do you do?
No, you just want him to keep kneeling for what?
So what did he do?
I'm
in the
just saying, if
community?
he can find another way to get the result that everyone's looking for, you just can't keep saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take a knee and be fine,"
I'm still
and just
waiting.
stop at that.
I'm still waiting for you to tell
I'm
me
just
what you
saying,
did.
Jenkins is doing something with that money in the community where
What?
the problem exists.
What?
Exactly.
You
Waiting to
just
find out.
said-
We're waiting for more details. I'm waiting for the details on what he did with the money. But he's saying he did it. He came out and said he used that money in the community. That's what he said. Jenkins said that.
And we have.
So we're
stories-
just waiting on what he did with the money. But I'm not going to call him a guy a liar. I ain't call Eric Reed a liar.
Hey, listen, you guys are making me uncomfortable.
Sorry.
But whatever the sit down and be humble award represents, we didn't talk about this, but I want to come with my own. And whatever the opposite of that is, sit down and be humble. I want to congratulate somebody this week.
I appreciate that.
I want to congratulate the Golden State Warriors, and that's a lot coming.
The
from
Golden
me.
State Warriors?
The Golden State Warriors. I'm for this rebrand of just middle fingers up to everybody, and we're gonna drop 100 points and a half on you. We're gonna break the 3-point record on you.
That wasn't
I mean, the single player. Klay Thompson dropped 14 threes yesterday.
Is that impressive?
That is impressive, and it's just the whole Fergie's ex-husband came out and said called Draymond Green a prick. That's the go-to word there, prick. What did the Warriors do after they beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden? They made a little video with the Fergie challenge right after the game. It went viral, and
She
it's out
deserved the
there.
award for that singing too. So she
Oh
was terrible.
yeah.
Was the national anthem?
Yes,
album?
in the All-Star game. You watch it?
Oh, you remember that?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
they
it was the
remixed
worst
it.
thing
They
I've
did a
ever
remix
seen.
to it, and they put a video out for it, and it's pretty funny.
So,
It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
but why is it coming back up now?
Because her husband called Draymond Green a prick for laughing at her.
At that
Because he
back
knew,
then.
because he knew the cameras were on, but he wasn't the only one laughing.
Oh, gosh.
But speaking
gosh.
to the basketball
Everybody
coach,
was
the only
laughing.
basketball coach in the room. How do you feel about the Warriors? Like, I know at the high school level, it might not. You got kids jacking up threes from half court. At whatever system you run, I know that's not a part of it. But like, you see that more often in kids trying to just strictly try to shoot threes all game and try to. I know that wouldn't work. Anyway.
It wouldn't. I guess the question is twofold. Yes, I see a lot of kids trying to do things outside of what their skill set is, and I'm not blaming it on the Golden State Warriors, but everybody wants to be.
Everybody wants to blame Steph Curry.
Everybody wants to be Steph Curry and Kevin Durant.
Because he puts in the work in the gym and
Correct.
But at the same time,
You
can't be jacking up 40-footers all the time.
Sure can. Play to your strengths. But as far as the Golden State Warriors are concerned, I'm impressed because they do the little things. Everybody sees them, score all the points and put up all the great numbers. Did you pay attention to how many times Klay Thompson put the ball on the floor? Do you pay attention to what Steph Curry and what Kevin Durant does? What they do without the ball in their hands, and how they move without the ball in their hands, and how they come off a screen, and how Steph Curry is going to give up his body to set screens and free other guys up. And oftentimes he'll set a screen and then fade back to get the ball and catch the ball. And all he needs is this much room to catch and free himself up and to get a free release on a shot. Then you want for half a second now, they just buried 2 or 3 jump shots in your face, and now they're coming off a screen, and then they back cut you, and they're getting a wide open, uncontested layup. The brand of basketball that they play is so unselfish, and I think it's very, very pure because they have guys on their team that can score from all 3 levels. They have a guy, and Kevin Durant can take you down on the block, depending on the situation, and he can, take you out on the wing. And if you go ahead and double team, they're going to go ahead and reverse the basketball, They just play a great brand of basketball, and it's really fun to watch them play. And if you can try to, just pull some of those things out and implement any of that stuff into your program, you're going to have some success.
I mean, I honestly think last year they looked more beatable than they do this year. They don't even have DeMarcus Cousins yet. I mean, it's still early, I know, but last year I felt like they were just more beatable. Like, I don't feel like anyone can beat them this year just watching them, and that's without DeMarcus.
I agree. Not in a 7-game series. One night they
Yeah,
have
they
off
might-
night,
you
but
might
their
give them-
chemistry
yeah.
is so ridiculous.
It could be 4-1,
good.
but
And they trust each other. And that's what I try to
Just
tell.
looking around the league, there's no other team that's
Looks
like
like
last year
that.
you had the Spurs with Kawhi maybe.
He's over here talking about the Raptors.
Come on now. Come on now. Kawhi can't do it. Look, if DeMarcus couldn't do it, they ain't saying DeMarcus is better than Kawhi, but if he couldn't do it with the talent they had up there and get close, he couldn't even get close. He couldn't get past a certain team to get there. I think he's gonna have the same problem with Boston this year. I don't know if the Raptors ever. I don't think they ever go. Honestly,
Don't forget about Phil.
I think Kawhi leaves after this year, and I think you guys are going to be back to. you guys are going to be back to nothing for a while.
Well,
You're
if
going to be extinct.
Kawhi leaves, he's going to LA. So let's cheer for that.
He might. I don't think he goes to the Lakers.
No.
I think he goes to the other LA team that no one cares about.
Whoa.
No one cares about the Clippers in LA.
People
It's like the San Diego Chargers. No one cares about the Chargers in LA. The Rams own that place.
The Rams are playing good football right now.
Great football.
Speaking of that, there's another coach in the room. Dixon's famous Cowboys the other day, or your Cowboys head coach, says that it's okay to go to the World Series on a bye week.
Absolutely. And I hate Jason Garrett.
Your team is 3-4.
So what?
It's a bye week.
You're
What
not
is he gonna
clocked
do?
in at work all the time?
Yes, you are. You should be.
Are you?
Yes. What are you talking about? If I'm the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and we're 3-4?
Oh, it's a job.
The Cowboys are going to always be 3-4.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
I mean, they're always going to have a losing record, along with Jason Garrett,
We're
the
gonna be
coach.
all right now. We got a Mark Cooper. We got Mark.
Oh yeah, that's right,
Who's
the
gonna
savior.
get it to him?
If you're
Dakota?
3-4 in the NFL, are you taking the bye week and going to sit in on the World Series?
Yeah, you
Like,
still got to
yeah,
have a life
you got work
outside
to
of
do.
everything else, man.
I
You gotta-
mean, the question is, there's two sides to it. I don't know what the NFL regimen is as a coach, in season.
It's a bye week. They get,
I don't know,
I think
bye
there's
week.
3 days
Off
off.
till, like,
It's like
the-
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday
I-
off, Saturday, whatever.
As the
That's what it's
coach,
for.
for me, in the season,
Probably doesn't
there's
look good.
there's no days off during the season for me. There's
Yeah,
not a
as a
day
coach,
that I
you
even
gotta
on a
plan.
Sunday. I'm probably even with this December, January on Sundays when everybody else is chilling, relaxing with their families, and maybe going to church, eating Sunday dinner, whatever it is. I'm gonna try to somehow watch some NFL football or maybe playoffs or whatever. And my computer is going to be open, and I'm going to be watching film. I'm going to be breaking down numbers. I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to be crunching. But the NFL is different. I don't know.
He could have been doing that in his hotel room.
For me, it's not a good look.
He took 3
I think
hours
more
out
than
of his
anything-
day. 3 hours out of his day to go watch a game.
Perception
It was
is
more than 3
reality.
hours.
Yeah, more than anything is
hours.
that more than anything, your team is inconsistent. You're not having any success, and you're at the World Series. So it looks bad.
Yeah.
That's all.
For him, it looks good. Any other coach, I don't think it looks at that, but he's on
He
there.
might
He's
get
on the
fired. He's
sidelines
probably gonna get
clapping.
fired this season.
He don't deserve to get fired. He
We
don't
just
do
fired
nothing.
the O-line
All he
coach.
does is tell you to punt or go for it on fourth down.
claps, yeah.
He don't call any plays. He's not the defensive coordinator.
So what
Jerry Jones has stripped him of any responsibility.
do you mean he don't deserve to get fired then?
Well, he doesn't do nothing.
Well,
If you got a problem with your offense, you fire the offensive coordinator because he's not responsible for. He don't call the plays anymore.
He needs to
If
go.
you got a problem with your defensive coordinator got to go.
He's not doing a good job.
All he's
managing.
saying is, "Hey, go for it on fourth down." That's basically all he does.
The
He
3
does
and 4.
nothing
And then he
else.
blows that call too.
But he does nothing else.
So
So
who-
if your problem, I think the problem is the owner, personally.
You can't fire the owner. You're 3
Exactly.
and 4 right now.
Well,
You're the
You gotta find
manager.
someone to
And we're
blame.
still in
You're the
it though.
boss. He has to go.
What exactly?
Yeah, for what?
Still in hunt for the
what-
playoffs.
What does he have to go for? What is he doing wrong?
Is he not steering the
His
ship?
team sucks. No talent.
Is he not steering the ship?
No
No
talent.
talent.
No
Dakota's a
talent.
bum.
Whoa.
Dakota's a bum.
talent.
Dakota's a
Oh, my
bum.
God.
You not?
Getting deep.
Is anyone saying Dak Prescott's good? Is he good?
Zeke,
He's good. So Zeke's no good.
I'm not talking about Zeke. There's always
He has nobody.
I didn't mean nobody. You said no talent. I'm just saying. Dakota's the
average.
Yeah.
exactly. He's not a great quarterback in the
Kirk
league.
Cousins is a little bit above average. Look how much he's making.
Yo, we're talking about Dak here.
Nah,
Why are
you're
you getting
right.
off subject?
You're right.
We're talking about
You're
Dak.
right.
Dak is not good.
Cowboys fan, you got
You're right. You're right.
Dak's a smart man though, because he said he wouldn't protest. You know why? Because he'd be just like Cap. He'd be out the league because he's average. He's at below average quarterback.
No, you just said average.
He's
Now
not
you
worth-
have below
Cap
average.
He's not worth the headache.
He's not a he's an above average quarterback.
Well,
Like,
he won one game his last year in the league.
not because of him.
Oh,
Who,
of course
Cap?
not.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with him.
Of course. Oh no, it doesn't.
No, it don't.
He
So-
has no responsibility. He's a
Has
quarterback
nothing-
of an
nothing
NFL
to do with
team,
him?
but he has no responsibility.
Okay, so how much credit does he get when he went to the Super Bowl?
He gets all the credit. He's the quarterback.
No.
Eli's
He gets
not-
everything. What do you mean? When he went,
A lot of people that
when he
go
went to
into
the,
what do you mean? In football,
he gets a
more than
lot of
any
the
other
credit.
sport. You need everybody.
Does anybody ever talk about anybody on the Patriots besides Tom Brady?
Yeah.
No. The answer is no, because they don't. Tom Brady gets all the credit.
We ain't talking about getting credit, but we know sports.
You just
we
asked
know
me who
better
gets
than
the
that.
credit. I told you, Cap got all the
But
credit.
we
for the Super Bowl.
know better than that, though. That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Cap-
Tom Brady goes there with a bunch of guys he picked up at the club.
Oh my God.
Julian
Disrespectful,
Edelman
man.
and
He's a
Amendola.
monster.
He picked these guys. He
Receivers.
picked these guys up at the frat house. He said, "Let's go play some football." You know,
God,
it's a pickup
terrible,
team
man.
out there,
Yeah.
and he puts it. You know what he does? He put that ball on the money, and I can catch those balls. The guy puts the ball on the money,
Oh my
he
God.
wins. That's why he gets all the credit. And when they lose, what they say? Tom Brady may be losing. He's 40 years
What
old.
are the Yaks looking like after the
Hey,
catch, though?
look, I didn't have
If you're
no
catching
drinks
the
tonight or nothing. This is because Samar said, "Well, I seemed like I was on the sauce last week."
Hold
When
on.
it's
You just
What made
said
you
Brady
drink?
throws you the ball and the money, you're
On the
catching,
money.
right? What are
On
you
the
doing
money.
with that after the catch?
I'm running.
You're going to the ground.
I'm running.
You're not getting no
Yeah,
Yaks.
he puts the ball where you just keep running. You don't ever have to stop.
This is one of
He's
the
not
signs we
McNabb.
got-
He ain't throwing balls in the
What
dirt.
are you doing? You going to
I'm
get
just
tackled
saying,
right
I
there?
might make a move. You
Take
know what I mean?
Take that step.
I might
right
make
there.
a move. What I'm saying is, if he deserved all the credit when he went to the Super Bowl, he deserves all the credit when they win one game. He was below average his last 2 years. Come on.
That's what we saying to you,
Hey.
man. That's just garbage.
Yo, I don't know why you want to defend this guy so much on the field. I'm not attacking him personally.
Buddy, you're
I'm not
saying-
attacking him personally. I told you I think he's great for the world.
You're saying that he deserves all the credit for them being.
I'm tired of talking about it. He's a below average quarterback. His last 2 seasons in the league.
Look,
He was
we're not
below
even on
average
Cap.
quarterback.
Cap wasn't even on the docket today.
They're talking
I'm
about
sorry.
Dak.
I'm
They're talking about
sorry.
Dak being
Well, I was
the
just using him as an example because it's Dak.
One more. Well, let's finish on the Ravens with the Ravens fan. Is it time to move on from Joe Flacco?
Hell no, he won a Super Bowl,
How long do you get to hold on to that?
right? Did he
You
not?
gotta ask the Ravens fan. I get it, but
Yo,
like how,
you
we're
can't just
here-
keep throwing people away, man. Like he won a Super Bowl, he gets that leeway.
Cat took a team to the Super Bowl. He don't get the
No.
Nah,
leeway.
he didn't win it though.
Yo,
He didn't win it.
he's not worth the headache.
Hold on. We
My
have a
thing was
Ravens fan.
Flacco ain't making.
We have a Ravens fan.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, my bad.
Let's get his personal opinion here.
We drafted Lamar Jackson. Clearly, he's a rookie. I don't think he's ready yet to take over the reins. I think the team is still Joe Flacco's team. He still needs time. I think we're still a playoff team. Joe didn't play the best game last week, but he definitely we've definitely as an organization they finally invested some money into some average or above average true wide receivers. You know, for the first time in I don't know, it's probably since we had Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden together.
Tory's an average.
Some tight ends too.
And they drafted some tight ends. So, you know, Joe has some legitimate weapons around him. I think our running game needs to be more consistent. Collins, the combination Collins.
Ray
and
Rice is
Allen.
still out there.
I'm
I'm just saying. Just in case
I don't know
y'all-
why we
y'all
just
need-
traded. I just
need
got
a
up
running
today
back.
that we traded for Ty Montgomery. I don't know why.
Oh, man. They got him out of
Was he
Green
playing
Bay.
wide
Yeah.
out or running back?
Hey, McCarthy don't play no games when it comes to players making mistakes. Yo.
He did.
You
Aaron
get
Rodgers
one
was
chance
pissed
with that
on
guy,
himself
and you're gone. It don't. I mean,
that kickoff return down. They
yes.
got rid of him.
yes, and it was almost like you knew it was coming. But he's a jerk, man. Like there ain't no way around that. He's a jerk as a coach. Like it don't take it's one thing. It's one thing, and
That's a
you're
big
done with
thing.
him.
He cost him the game.
Remember Lacey? Lacey had that one fumble. You had never seen him play another Packer uniform.
Lacey fumbled a lot.
For a fumble.
He kept fumbling.
No,
He
stop
was
it.
Built like a guard.
Hold on. I want to revisit one. He said the Ravens are a playoff team. That's like a homer statement. Like,
This is show and prove week right now. You got the Steelers just
We got the
right?
Steelers.
It's
You
a
got
show
the
and
Browns
prove.
here.
So
They
he feels that
they
way.
already beat the
It's
probably the
Steelers.
third best
At
team in the
home?
division.
No,
Behind
they
who?
beat the Steelers already.
The Steelers and the Bengals.
Wait a minute.
Bengals,
Nah, they
Bengals is balling right now.
We didn't show up the first time we played the Bengals. I ain't gonna lie, they destroyed us. Okay, and we went to Pittsburgh and beat them handily.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how can you say we're the third best team in the division? And we got them coming to Baltimore this Sunday.
Right. He's right, B.
So we have,
absolutely right.
we have the
Show and prove
opportunity
week.
to show it
Right
this
now,
week.
he can say that.
This proves that sometimes you don't know what you're talking about.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Just sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes.
So where you putting them at in that division?
They're two.
So, yeah, never
The
trust
Bengals are the best
Cincinnati.
team in that division right now. But we know what Marvin Lewis does. He loses in the first round. So it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter.
before they even get that.
So honestly, they're probably the best team in that division. Because we know what the Bengals are going to do. They do it every year. Even if you think they're not going to do it, they do it every year.
Yeah, I
They're
got
going to
faith
go
in
in the
Marvin.
playoff. They're going to lose in the first round. You know it's coming.
The
So
fact that he still has a job.
Let's not
Man,
call
oh,
for
man.
We're not calling for. We're not going to do it tonight. We're not going
Like
to call for the
15
brother's
years,
job.
we're like 15
nah,
years in.
if
Well,
he got to
Hugh
go,
Jackson
if he don't go
got
past the
fired.
first round this year, he's got to go.
Look, man.
Told you Hugh Jackson had to go. They got to go.
So it's about that time for us to wrap up and get up out of here.
You just can't just go right into that. Like we supposed to like wind down and then go into it's time to go.
All right.
It'd be like
I
that.
thought
No,
that was-
no,
I
it's
thought
time
that
to go now. You know, made it all awkward and everything. It's time to go.
Well, no, I thought that was a wind down. Like I was about to ask for
No,
a shout
you
out.
gotta-
Give our guests like a chance to
Ruined
say
it.
where they want to go with it, with the socials and everything else that they want to promote.
let's do it.
Like
Let's do it, man.
that was the wind down. If you would have let it go, then you would have saw the whole wind down.
No, I'm with him. You can't have to call you out on that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, both of you are wrong. I just need to wrong.
You're outvoted.
Yo, you're never wrong, man. Ever.
That's not true at all.
Oh man, these teachers
Anyway.
from York, man. Teachers from York are tough.
Hey, we got to be to survive in our environment.
All our kids walk single file line to the cafeteria.
Yes.
So
Prison.
stand by that.
Exactly. No, it's not. Anyway, we want to thank our guests for coming through tonight, and we definitely appreciate it. I know it's late, so we have gifts for them.
Oh, we got gifts.
Yeah.
got gifts.
Yeah.
Hey.
We got gifts.
We got
You know what?
And being last
Sometimes
time,
we,
feel like
we
we're
buy
on a
gifts
game
and
show or
then,
something.
well, we don't know we're buying gifts sometimes. Remember we said
No, don't.
he just
Don't
texted
worry.
us and say, "Hey, I got this
We're
money.
on the
I'm gonna keep
signing
this
day.
money because we got gifts coming." So yeah,
We're on the
so
signing day?
we
Yeah.
normally
'Cause we
give
saw
out
you
gifts
blow up before
and don't
anybody
know
else.
that we paid for them.
Yeah, I
So-
appreciate this.
Definitely.
Opinionated facts. That's an oxymoron, man.
It definitely is like us.
Hey, we keep putting like the word. We don't have a logo yet. Like we're still working on that.
It's
So
all right.
next time you come, maybe we're gonna have the logo on there and it'll be good. It's in the works,
You
man.
guys next time I come, so you guys gonna have me back.
We would like to have
This
y'all
ain't-
back.
this ain't-
We talked about where he's
This ain't like
Yeah.
Hollywood, is it? Where they say, hey, we have to do lunch sometime. You gotta come back,
And you never hear them
never see
again?
You never see them again. You know what I
we
mean?
want to. I'm gonna friend y'all and everything on Facebook. We'll make sure you get
You know
back
what I
here.
mean?
He come to do his commitment here,
You
right?
talking about I tagged you in the video in the live feed? I ain't get it. I've been looking on my phone for an hour. I've been over here like, man, I can't find this. Man.
But here, listen, we're gonna have you back when you guys win the state title this year, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you're coming back.
Sounds good
I'm
to me.
wearing my medal too.
Yeah,
He
that's
might
what I'm
get
talking
all.
about.
He might get all Hollywood on us. He's like,
After
nah,
the-
I
Hey,
can't.
nah, I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
do that.
ESPN, Fox Sports want me now.
I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
Little Clovis about to blow up. He's gonna be a star after the season. He's gonna forget about opinionated facts. So we gotta,
Hey, but we gonna put it out there that we had him on first.
definitely. So make sure that you guys are paying attention because York is about to take y'all by storm and show y'all something special this year. But before we get up out of here, Red, you want to give any shout outs?
No, not really.
I'm gonna make you look bad with my shout out then. So
Oh man. Well, come back to me. Come back to me.
Yeah, you gotta go first.
no, I go last.
How does
You
that
gotta
work?
come back to us because
You go first when we come on and go last when we leave. That's not like you
shout-out.
can't have all the shine, yo.
That's
You
not.
do the intro and the
Yeah,
outro.
and the outro.
man,
Like,
go ahead,
hey, what
give
more
me
do
this
you
All right, I
got?
give my shout outs,
Give us
people.
great shout
Hey, I want to give a shout out to my son's football team, the Little Crusaders, on qualifying for the
Man,
playoffs.
I was gonna do that, but I was like,
Winning 7 straight games and going 7-2. So yeah, I mean, shout out to that whole team and all the kids and the parents and the coaching staff. Great job. And
and your co-host son that
best
plays on the
of-
same team.
I said the players, didn't I?
He's trying to one up you, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to be the last one. 'Cause I'm not gonna have a shout out. So
Anyway, so yes, the players and everybody else. Make sure you still check out the Credit Lab on Facebook, and that information will be up on our YouTube page as well. And
The guests, man. Let the guests put their shout
I'm
out.
not leaving. You just want me to go first
I
now.
felt like you were leaving,
Oh my
we're trying
God.
to see what
This
this
guy
great
goes-
shout out was.
and I don't want to be alone. I felt you like you were leaving right there. I wanted to get these guys in.
Look, man. This guy gonna tell me to go first, and then gonna get mad. Gonna say
He
I'm leaving.
told you to go first. I
You
never said a
this
word.
Great shout out, and I was like, I want to hear it, so then maybe I could top it. And then it was like, all right, shout
It wasn't a
out.
great shot. So I'm gonna make him feel bad. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, our son's playing on the
You said
same
you were
team.
going to top
You
it.
right? You said you go top. This will be this great shout out.
It wasn't that great.
It wasn't.
But
How you
would've
gonna
did
say your
better.
son's team qualifying for the playoffs is
He
not
would've
that
did
great?
better.
I knew they were going to qualify 3 weeks ago.
I guess they got any shout out?
Anyway, thank. Yeah, young Clovis, you want to go give your social handles out, make sure people can follow you and all that good stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram at Clovis Gallon Jr. I don't know if y'all can spell my name.
We'll put it up on the We'll put it up on on the page.
And then you can add me on Snapchat if you want. Cruddy.Clovis.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
those names always.
Clovis.
I made my Snapchat in 8th grade.
Hey,
You can change it, can't you?
Cruddy in 8th grade, eh?
You can change like your name, but not like your real username. You can't change that.
oh man, Cruddy. I'm gonna call you Cruddy tomorrow when I see you. Big Clovis.
Big shout out to the York High boys Bearcats varsity football team
Definitely.
for winning the county championship back-to-back years. Coach Russ Stoner and the boys are gearing up to play Northern in the first round of the district tournament this Friday at home down at Smalls Field. We have a great draw in the district tournament. Our football team, as far as I know, I may have to do my history in football, check my history in football. I don't know if we've ever won a district title in football, but we have a tremendous opportunity before us to be able to advance deep into the playoffs with what we have coming back. And the football program has definitely been revitalized and has definitely changed the culture and has helped enhance the culture of our sports programs at York High. With basketball has always had some success, and football dipped down for a little bit, and now it's back. So the culture of our building has shifted. The kids are not only being challenged on the field, but they're being challenged academically. And our basketball guys are definitely paying attention to that. So it's positive peer pressure for the kids. So big shout out to the football program for their success and Coach Russ Stoner. That's all I got.
Red, now it's your turn. You're last.
I'm good. Stay laid up, stay prayed up, and
Oh my God! You gonna make all that fuss, and then you have nothing.
I didn't have nothing the first time.
Yeah, you made
I just
the
wanted to
team
hear what you were going to say.
Some great.
Oh man! So make sure you follow the Opinionated Facts on Twitter at OF Podcast. OF Podcast Boys. Make sure you follow us on the Opinionated Facts YouTube page, and make sure you follow the Opinionated Facts on Facebook and IG as well. I think we're the same, just Opinionated Facts, right? On all those handles. Other than that, we're about to get up out of here for the night. Make sure you stay laid up, stay prayed up, stay out the way, and listen to what some old folks have to say. See you next week. Peace.